Russia and the US are deeply divided on Earth, but united in space. However, due to the war in Ukraine, there are concerns that Western sanctions against Russia could cause the International Space Station to fall down into Earth. That is what the director of the Russian space agency Roscosmos said. Retired astronaut Scott Kelly, who spent 340 consecutive days on the ISS, is with us to discuss the matter. Welcome, Mr. Kelly.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Do you think the ISS is at risk?
Well, the space station is an international program that requires international cooperation. The design of it is very symbiotic, meaning that what's called the U.S. operational segment, which is the U.S. and European modules, Japanese module, Canadian arm, is one side of the space station, and then there's the Russian side, and they both rely on each other. The U.S. provides the Russians with electricity, with water. At times, the Russian side allows us to control our attitude, to control the space station's attitude. The idea that you could separate the space station is, and have two different space stations is not really practical. The idea that Roscosmos independently could deorbit the space station and target it to crash at a specific spot on Earth is also, I think, a little far-fetched. Might be possible, but I don't really see that happening. I think both sides, the U.S., I know, is committed to maintaining this cooperation, and I know that the Russians that are working on the space station program, not Rogozin, but I think everyone else is committed to maintaining this partnership.
What would happen if Russia leaves the football field-sized station?
If the Russians were just to pack up their stuff and leave the space station, it would be challenging. It would be really challenging, maybe not impossible, but really challenging for NASA and the other international partners to continue to operate the International Space Station. Is it impossible? Probably not. Would it be really, really hard? Yes. Is it undesirable? Absolutely.
There are private companies operating in the field of space in the United States. It is said that the United States could move more independently in the industry with the help of those companies. What would you say about that?
Well, could they help fly the space station if the Russians left? Yes. SpaceX has already tested the ability to raise the orbit of the space station. I think there's another test of the Cygnus spacecraft to do the same thing. Would they be able to maintain attitude control, which is one of the big things the Russian segment provides? Possibly. Would it be really hard? Absolutely. But, once we move on from the space station, we won't need Russia's participation in anything we do. As a matter of fact, it actually makes things harder, and there's nothing now that they could provide that would help, like a mission to the moon or to Mars. It's just not necessary to include them. And I think, to be quite honest with you, after this Russian invasion of Ukraine, regardless of how this turns out, we will probably never participate with Russia in anything ever again. They have really old technology. Granted, it works. Does it do a whole lot more than just getting people to space and allowing them to live there? Not really. They don't do any kind of interesting science on board the space station. They basically provide, somewhat reliable but old and not very technologically advanced hardware.
So I would like to ask if you are in contact with your Russian colleagues nowadays.
I am. Some of my Russian colleagues that are cosmonauts I'm in touch with. I'm in touch with some other Russian friends. Some of them work for the space agency. Some of them do not. So, I stay in contact with them fairly regularly.
Retired NASA astronaut Scott Kelly, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.